Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. I again welcome you all present here for second session on the first day of 1 week faculty development program. Now we are having Chief Advisor Training and Development Dr. Mr. Tushar Mulay sir, guest speaker of the second session. Now it's time to introduce Tushar Mulay sir. Tushar Mulay sir is Chief Advisor Training and Placement, Training and Development, Global Education Limited. Sir, Associated Trainer, Dell Carney India, Master Trainer, MEPSC, Life Member of Indian Society of Training and Development, approved CBSE School Teacher, Trainer at National Forum, visiting faculty, Mahajenko Koradi Training Center, expert professional development in training, American TESOL Institute, PGD, DBA, dual specialization in HR and marketing. Sir is having total 28 years of experience in the field of training and development for corporate and academic dealing with leaders, managers, faculty member, student and CBSE teachers. Sir is also having students training expertise in employability skill, life skill, soft skill, study skill, emotional skill, emotional intelligence, presentation skill, and career skill. Sir has also been published author of 12 articles on motivational skill development training related to student and professional. Conceptualized a book on communication skill for budding professional and co-authoring a book on employability skill. Sir has client in academic institute as well as in corporate institute like Symbiosis International University, North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon, Sant Gadge Baba University, Amravati, Kavi Kavi Kalidas, Vishwavarya Ramtek, Rajiv Gandhi College of Engineer, Chandrapur, Sri Sai Engineering College, Chandrapur, Sri Sai Polytechnic College, Chandrapur, RGI, around a prominent CBSE school in Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, UP, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, etc. Lokmat Group for CRT for student in Nagpur and Jalgaon. Sir also has client in corporate sector also like TAL, OCW Limited, JS Steve, Reliance Power, Ashok Leyland, Lupin Limited, India Limited, Central Bank of India, and many more. Please have a huge round of applause for Sir. Now, I would like to Tushar Mulay sir for guest speaker.
So good afternoon, everyone. I hope I am audible to all of you. Am I? Right. This has been a long wait since morning because I came here and then I was waiting for my turn to come. But nonetheless, it's a beginning now. Right. If any issue with the voice, please let me know so that I can correct either myself or the machines. Right. Okay, thank you, Simran. First of all, for that introduction, you would have asked me, I would have given a smaller one, right? What we are going to discuss today is something related to the leadership skills. What it needs to be, what to be called as a leader, what kind of skills do we need? And you will realize that most of the cases, what skills do we need are more of the social skills. Now, can we connect this? Yeah. I can go without it also, but I thought I'll just keep on displaying things to you so that we can get an idea. In the meantime, they fix it up. Let me first of all congratulate myself on your behalf because I'm going to address some of the brains, those who are doing the noblest kind of. They are in the profession where I have an opportunity to address all of you. The idea behind conducting this kind of sessions, I'm sure that I'm very keen to know from Dean ma'am that why do we think of these kind of sessions. I don't know whether the audience thinks that way or not, but yes, there's a lot to offer as far as the audience is concerned, because by default whenever we become teachers, we by default become or may become the leaders, because we are influencing people around us. या ये कनेक्ट हो जाएगा इसको, राइट? वन, अच्छा अदर ये दे दूं सीधा. I may have to look back constantly, but anyways, we'll try to do it like this. I did not know. I don't have paper. I am always of the opinion that when it comes to the higher educations, unlike the primary and middle school education, there is no provision for people to study something classically, what is called as MA, BEd kind of courses, where teachers are taught almost everything into that. How to deal with a class, how to deal with a child, psychology of the child, everything is taught. But when it comes to the higher education, we are here by virtue of our specializations. है ना? अच्छा, मैं दो भाषाओं में बात करने वाला हूँ, चलेगा ना? कारण मैं मध्य प्रदेश का हूँ और मध्य प्रदेश की भूमि पे हूँ, तो अगर हिंदी के अलावा कुछ बात किया तो मुझे खुद को तकलीफ देती है होता है, राइट? तो हम लोग जो स्पेशलाइजेशन किए हुए हैं उसके आधार पे हम लोग यहाँ पर पढ़ाते हैं. लेकिन होता यह है कि इस स्पेशलाइजेशन में हमें कई चीजें नहीं मालूम होती जो मालूम होना चाहिए, जैसे कि हाउ टू डील विद द चाइल्ड, how to know the student, how to know the stage in which he is or she passing through. ये सारी चीजें हमको by default नहीं आती. We learn it through trial and errors. Most of the cases it happens, and if it is not there, you can always correct me, but that's my assumption because that's how I have seen things. What I'll do is I'll show some of the slides one by one. I just want you to find out what exactly does that mean. In fact, उसके अंदर कुछ skills होंगी with a question mark. तो आप देखिएगा कि वो स्किल कहाँ फिट होती होंगी. सही या गलत का कोई सवाल नहीं, हम अंदाजा लगा रहे हैं, ठीक है? कैन आई हैव द स्लाइड प्लीज? राइट. Can you see these kind of things here? I have mentioned responsibility, independent work, initiative, self-regulation, organizing. These are the basic skill I am pointing it out. And I want to know what exactly does that mean to us? ये कहाँ के लेवल पे ज्यादा काम करती होंगे इस तरीके की skills? No, in our phase as a student to hire. तो you'll find that if I'll tell you what exactly this is, ये एक skill का set हो गया, ये skill sets हमको कहीं ना कहीं require होता है, and on the basis of which, yeah, adolescence, right, and it is more to do with the education. We'll come to that, right? But that's a great thing. So these are the skills like responsibility, independent work, initiative, self-regulation, and organizing skills are the skills which are required at a particular stage of life, and they are very essential, right? Can we go to the next one, please? Now we'll come to know certain skill sets which are more to do with creative. You need to have patience, communication skills, organizing skills, creative thinking skills, leadership skills, capacity to work in a team, time management, computer skills, and conflict resolution skills. Again, this is a stage, our own stage, but these are different sets of skills we require in our lives. ये किस स्टेज में काम में आते हैं? Can you relate with it? Workplace. But what kind of workplace am I referring to at this hour? But you are quite right that way, Simran. Yeah, most of that. Who said that? Granted, sir. Right? It is more towards teacher skills. No, there are certain things they are more towards teacher skill. Can we go to the next one? Now we'll have a cluster of skills I'm presenting here. You'll find that most of them might be common as well. I'm not denying that fact. But if you look at communication, empathy, integrity, decision making, problem solving, creativity, delegation, EI, time management, teamwork, motivation, active listener, flexibility, decisiveness, confidence, self-awareness, positivity, innovations, resilience, and team building. These kind of skill sets. Now, what do you think? Looking at the topic, looking at the entire theme of the program, what do you think? What this skill exactly means? ये किसके लिए होंगी? Pan sir? Yes, you are in that stage. I'm not denying that fact. But if you look at our journey as a student to teacher to look at the title, leader. That's what. Simran, you're on my side today. Great. So this is something, these are the skills required. Now we'll go to the next one. Now again, these kind of skills, you'll find that there's nothing social involved in this. It is more to do with the personal management. These are the competencies for students. Can you flash it again? एक बार और press कर दीजिएगा button. Yeah, these are the competencies classically meant for a student. A student, to be a good student, needs to be responsible, should hold his own responsibility, should be able to do something independently. He should take initiative, should be a self-regulated person, self-disciplined person, and should have good organization of himself. And probably that's what you belong to, this class of people. There's a reason you studied. In our country, if I go to the census of 2011, because 2021 we could not have by virtue of COVID, you will find that the number of people they reached to the level of graduation, number of people reaching to the level of graduation, any idea how many, what percentage of people do they reach to the level of graduation? I'm not talking about today, I'm talking 11 years ago. The way crores of students they get into the education system, my question is, what percentage of people do you think across the country are able to reach to the level of graduation? 32, 40, that's what Simran says. Anyone agrees or disagrees with her? I'm talking about 2011 census, and there is no reason for you to know it, but I can tell you that figure is somewhere 8.25%. 8.25. This is 2000. Even if we double it, still it is less than 20%. That's the point I'm trying to make. These are the graduate people, those are reaching to the level of graduation. But if I talk to you something related to post-graduation, probably this percentage is even lesser. You belong to that category. Some of you are already pursuing or have done your doctoral degree. You belong to an allied class. That's what I'm trying to say. Right. So these are the students, and these are the students' competencies essentially required to do what they do. Can we go to the next one, sir? And you have to press it again. Thank you. So these are the competencies of teacher. Now you are seeing something which is written in red, highlighted in red. And can you see those skills? Communication skills, leadership skills, capacity to work in a team, and conflict resolution skills. They are classically called as social skills. As teachers, these are the responsibilities. By default, they come to us. We have lots of issues to deal with as a teacher on day-to-day basis, and these are classically the social skills. Means to practice teaching, I need to have set of skills which is altogether to different to that of a student skill. As a student, if I was a learner, my focus area was very different. But when I see as a teacher, as a practicing teacher, I am seeing that these kind of skills are required, which are more social in nature. Unfortunate part of the story is we don't have any curriculum which teaches us to read the man. Right? We read the books, but we don't know how to deal with a man. That's the challenge today. And that's where we require these kind of social skills. Believe me, a big percentage of people are failing to develop these kind of social skills. Now, social skills are nothing but they are a part of 3-4 skills which WHO has propagated. WHO has said students should be good at life skills. Life skills are categorized in 3 things: thinking skills, emotional skills, and social skills. Now, thinking I'll come to if time permits, because I promise you that as the time has been given to me, I'll try to close it within that. I know that everybody rushes to get into the bus. That's what I'm practicing empathy here, right? I know that everyone. So these are the skills we require as the teachers. Now, can we go to the next one? Double click, sir. Right. These are the competencies of leader. Now, there were 4 such skills. Now, I am highlighting almost 8 skills like this. Can you see them? Communication, empathy, integrity. Integrity is more, probably it's a mistake I made. Integrity is more towards the inner self. There's a value system. Then delegation of work, the emotional intelligence, teamwork, active listener, and team building. These are the skills which we need to practice while being a teacher. Now, when it comes to the leader, there is a question mark. How many of us, when we received this kind of a circular that there's going to be a workshop, which is going to be leadership development workshop, how many of us felt that there is a need for this kind of thing for us? Normally, we are not very keen to get into these kind of workshops. Why do we? Why should we require this? But the fact remains that whenever we are going to do any kind of jobs, we will have to deal with the people. And whenever we are going to deal with the people, we'll have to develop leadership skills. Now, by designation or by post, by my seniority, I can never be termed as a leader. None of us can become a leader just because my designation says so. Leadership is something where people, they feel like following you. It is not the leader who decides that I am going to be the leader. It is the follower who decides who is going to be the leader. I'll tell you one very interesting survey which was done. There was a media house from America. Are you all with me? Are you all okay with me? May I carry on? Right. So there was a survey done by the media house, 2000, American media house. They did a survey, and that survey was saying they actually classified, they found out some 10,000 people across the globe, the prominent ones. They were judges, they were the presidents of the countries, they were the scientists, they were the doctors, they were the journalists, they were from education, everybody, 10,000 across the globe. They were, selected for a particular cause. What was that cause? The cause was they were supposed to vote for somebody, some kind of leader they found that has influenced the mankind, in last 1,000 years. How many people were there? 10,000 people were there across the globe. They were supposed to find out that who is that person who has influenced the mankind for last 1,000 years. I'll tell you, there are plenty of leaders we had in these. If I go back to the eras of Cholas, Prachi in Itihas, right? If I go to that era, we had Guptas. Samudragupta was somebody who never lost a battle and had his kingdom across. In fact, some of the the foreigners, they say that Samudragupta is Napoleon of India, which I differ. Napoleon is Samudragupta of his own place, right? Because Samudragupta's era was very different. Then there can be leaders like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, there can be leaders like anybody, right? So, if you look at the modern history, there were plenty of leaders. Mahatma Gandhi was the leader. If you look at the era of Mahatma Gandhi and उनके समकालीन लोग, तो उन समकालीनों की अगर हम बात करें तो उसी दरमियान हिटलर भी था. द्वितीय विश्व युद्ध के में हिटलर का रोल ज्यादा था, लेकिन प्रथम विश्व युद्ध के आखिर में हिटलर का नाम आना शुरू हो गया था। स्टालिन 1916 में उसका उल्लेख है, जब झार का और उसके परिवार का मर्डर हुआ, और उसी दरमियान माओ त्से-तुंग ने एक लॉन्ग मार्च किया जिसमें 5 लाख लोगों की मृत्यु हुई। पूरे कंट्री के अंदर एक बड़ा मार्च किया। इफ यू लुक एट द वर्किंग ऑफ दिस पीपल, दे ऑल वर ऑफ द सेम एरा। तो ये 4 ही लीडर ले लेते हैं, स्टालिन, माओ त्से-तुंग ऑफ चाइना, Hitler and Mahatma Gandhi, and there were some other leaders also, like Churchill was there, who was always, people have attributed that he actually brought that Second World War to a halt, never had great regards for India. But if I look at all these people, so there was a voting done. So out of these 10,000 people, you will be surprised that 8,886 people, they voted for Mahatma Gandhi as the leader, who influenced the mankind for last 1,000 years. What I'm trying to make you know, Mahatma Gandhi never aspired to be a leader, but he had the followers. Not only that, he had followers even after 53 years of his death, without actually promoting himself as a leader, but he had. So leadership has nothing to do with the designation. Leadership has nothing to do with the seniority. Leadership is more to do with how many followers do you have, and who decides the leader? The followers, they decide the leader. Getting my point? आगे बढ़े, बीच बीच में हिंदी लाने के लिए ये भी मैंने बोल दिया, आगे बढ़े, right? Can we go to the next one, sir? Now I'll get a quick opinion check. It is stated that leaders are not, leaders are born but they can't be made. That's the statement made. What is your take on this? What do you think? Can we go for the next 2 clicks? 1 and 2. Here comes. Or leaders are made, not born. What is your take on this? आपको क्या लगता है? लीडर्स पैदाइशी होते हैं, बनाए नहीं जा सकते, लीडर बनाए जाते हैं, पैदाइशी नहीं हो सकते. Can you be a little louder? The first one is leaders are born, cannot be made. In fact, to be very honest with all of you, there is a wrong notion people carry that leaders can't be born or leaders can't be, leaders cannot be made. In fact, I will say that yes, there is something, scientifically it is stated that there is some 30% genetics are there where we can say leaders are born. But 70% requires a great deal of hard work where we can say leaders are made. Another thing, remember, ever you are dealing with the students, whenever you talk something called as word skill, remember that whenever there is something called a skill, it is something which is a competency which can be developed with our efforts. Do you want to see a magic of skills? Can you quickly take out your notebook and pen and can you write something which I ask you to write? I'll not check, be assured. Right? Sir can borrow one single page, है ना? या थोड़ा देर से कर लीजिएगा, लेकिन सब लोग कीजिएगा, है ना? I am talking about the skills. ये एनर्जी जो आई है वो आपकी उपस्थिति से और जो मीठा खाया है उससे, राइट? मैं आपको एक स्किल के बारे में, अच्छा, हाउ मेनी ऑफ अस हैव राइट हैंड एज अ प्रीडोमिनेंट हैंड, जिससे हम लिखते हैं? हाउ मेनी ऑफ अस आर राइटिंग right as a predominant hand? Do we have anybody writing with the left hand predominantly? Anyone writing with the left hand predominantly? No problems, no issues. Now what we'll do is we'll try to write our full name with our predominant hand. Can we write our full name with our predominant hand? Write your full name with a predominant hand, जो आप आमतौर पे लिखने के लिए यूज करते हैं. I can see the only person I know in this hall is Simran, and she has already written, right? Done? Okay, great. How much time did it take for you to write it? It just went with the flow. Not even seconds you can count. And whenever you, sir, even less than this, sir, yeah. Yeah, so it just goes with the flow, no, sir? Even if we go to buy a refill or a pen, we write our name only. We are so habitual of writing our names, right? Now, can you write your full name with your non-predominant hand, the left one? Done, sir? Few are still taking time. Now look at the output. What you did with your predominant hand and what you did with the non-predominant hand. Look at the output. Is it not reminding you of your KG days? Did not it take longer than required? Did not it take efforts to make it? Does that mean that your left hand does not know your name or what? It knows, but it is not skilled to write. Getting it? So there is something called a skill which can be worked. Your right hand, since you have been writing with the right hand, you are skilled enough to write, but left hand is not skilled enough. So we are getting a message out of it. Yes, if I practice, I can develop that skill. Same way, whenever we are talking of any of these skills, I can assure you, just needs a practice, nothing else. More you practice, more skilled you will be. Anything you take, for example, right from chapati making to driving the bike or a car, everything required some kind of skills to be, initially we were not skilled. That's how the journey. So skills journey begins from, like, say, for example, let's be friends with each other. I know it's live, but let us be frank with each other. Whenever we receive such kind of a circular, there is something called as FDP. How do we react to it? I know how do we react, right? So whenever we get this kind of circular, we feel, why is it for me now? What do they want me to do? What grade will I achieve by doing so? That's a very obvious thing. Because we are in a first stage where we do not know what we don't know. Right? The first stage is, I do not know what I don't know. मुझे नहीं मालूम है कि मुझे क्या क्या नहीं मालूम है. And that's why I am confident about everything I do. I can pass remarks. Students have become the trollers nowadays without knowing even a single thing, but they can judge you when you're standing on the floor because they don't know what they don't know. Right? But someday on a teacher's day, when you encourage a student to come on the floor, and when he stands and his hands start shaking, he realizes so difficult the teacher's job is. That day he realizes there are few things on this earth I do not know. So journey of the skill development starts from unconscious incompetence. I do not know what I don't know. Unconscious incompetence. Stage 2, when I try it and realize that I couldn't do the way it could have been done, it becomes, now I know there are few things I don't know. That becomes conscious incompetence. I know this thing I don't know. Then what do? You start practicing it. Just recall, how do you start making chapatis in the beginning? Or you started riding the bike in the beginning. You had all that concentration everywhere on the handle of the bike, or you had all that concentration on the when you're rolling that chapati. Everything was absolutely focused. You wanted to do in the correct possible manner. Anything you do for the first time or try to do for first few times, you invariably have a habit. You invariably have a habit of focusing it absolutely on this. That stage is third stage. That is what is called as conscious competence. So journey began from unconscious incompetence to the conscious incompetence to conscious competence. Now you tell me, whenever you go to the classrooms to deliver a session, whenever you ride a bike or a car, whenever you make chapatis, sometimes you do not even know how much time did it take. You are done with. अभी तो शुरू किया था. And if you look at that, product is absolutely fine, very good. So now you are becoming conscious to an extent that you are unconscious about your expertise. That stage is called as unconscious competence. That stage is called as unconscious competence. लेकिन हर चीज के साथ कुछ खतरे भी जुड़े होते हैं. चूंकि हम शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में हैं, तो हम लोग जो शुरुआत में नोट्स बनाते हैं वो बड़े कॉन्शियस कॉम्पिटेंस की स्टेज के नोट्स होते हैं. कालांतर में हम उसको इतना आत्मसात कर लेते हैं कि उसकी आवश्यकता नहीं पड़ती. फिर एक क्षण ऐसा आता है कि 25 वर्ष सिल्वर जुबली हमारे प्रोफेशन की बनती है और हमारे नोट्स की भी बनती है. Because we are not adding anything into new to this. So every time we are doing the same thing because we are happy with this. And that's where the risk of comfort zone is very much there. And therefore, whenever I say there is a skill, always can tell you that I can develop it. It may take time, but I can always develop it. That's where skill comes into picture. So again, coming back to this question, and answer partly you're given and partly I have given, it is just a ratio of the 30% it comes by, you inherit it, and 70% something you keep working. As you keep working, you develop it. Now, today's challenge is something to do with communication, believe it or not. Communication is one of the very vital challenge, and therefore we all need to keep into mind that yes, any skill, be it communication, essential, most essential for being a teacher, we need to work on and can be worked upon. There's nothing can stop us doing so. Sir, can we go to the next one? Now I'll say that, can you click it again, sir? So these are going to be the influences as leaders. When you are standing on the floor as a teacher, these are going to be your influence as a leader. You are going to influence the student. And believe me, they follow you in toto. Do you agree to this? We have followed our teachers like that. Have we? Haven't we? I did not take cup of tea till the time I turned a certain age because my teacher told me, don't drink it, you will get black. I don't know how was my color that time. But I said, probably I may turn black, and I didn't have it. That much you believe your teachers. There was a child in my neighborhood had written a wrong, spelling of 8. What is the spelling of 8? I don't know. That's the reason I asked you, right? And what can be a wrong one? EIGTH. So this boy wrote EIGTH. Now teacher ticked it because teacher has to go through so many things, and 8 is too elementary thing to be corrected. Probably she ticked it. Now this boy, his name is Pradeep Nagesh. Now highly placed, and had been to my place. I couldn't meet him, but he met my parents, my father and my wife. So he was very much okay with that this is the spelling because teacher has ticked it. They were from Tamil Nadu. They were residing in Indore. Mother was finding it difficult to talk to the teacher, to let her know that you had ticked at a wrong place and he believes that that's the spelling. Then I, in my adolescence, went as an advocate to pursue the matter. I said, ma'am, isko cross zarur karte hain pehle, because he believes that whatsoever is written is the right one. Getting it? And therefore, friends, that's exactly the influence we have on the students, because by default they believe us in toto. But we cannot go directly like this, reason being that they are smart enough to evaluate us also, right? That's the first impression creators you should be absolutely worried about, because every child, the way you look at a child also looks at you. And that's why we'll talk about certain skills if time permits, but right now I'll be focusing on the leadership part more prominently. Now this individual students your leadership begins from and then slowly spreads to the entire classroom. Do you agree to this? Yeah, entire class, they dance on your tunes, no? You orchestrate the entire class. And that's why it goes up to the level of classroom. That's how leadership, unknowingly, you're taking up that particular responsibility. So can we have a click again? Then it goes up to the institution. In fact, I always tell in my classes, here also I am dare to say so, that whenever somebody comes to us to greet us on a teacher's day, receive it, accept it, bless him or her. But somebody comes for a Guru Purnima, think twice. Probably we are not falling in that particular category. And that's why we should be very much particular about these things. Society. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, we were lucky enough to have him in our college at GHRCE. He addressed, and Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam talked about his teacher. He keeps on taking his teacher's name again and again. He used to. It's there on the various videos and reels nowadays. His name was Shiva Subramaniam. When Dr. APJ was 10 years. In the classroom, Dr. APJ was taught by Shiva Subramaniam how the bird fly. And by the time he ended his session, he not only understood how does the blood fly or how do the birds fly, but he already knew what is he supposed to do. And that's how we know him as a missile man. Getting it? That's the influence of a teacher. Then the nation. We celebrate the Teachers' Day on the name of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. That's the Germany you go to. Probably teachers are highest regarded. This is the only profession which touches every other profession. Right? We may have to go to the doctor for our own problems, We may have to go to the lawyer for, but everybody has to go through us. Am I right? That's why this is one profession which touches almost every profession. Germany, that's the reason they really regard and respect very much. अभी हम लोग श्लोकों में सीमित हो गए, right? उसके beyond जाना चाहिए हम लोगों ने. And the generations. I don't know under what circumstances did we take a decision to teach. I don't know. But I want you to introspect. Under what circumstances did we decide to teach? But I want you to introspect on this. There is nothing wrong that you came here just by chance. But if you leave here by choice. That's what I would like to tell you. Because what happens is this: when you start influencing the generations, and that's what exactly the teacher does. Here, I would like to draw your attention to something very vital. Once I was going to deliver a session. Sometime back, Dean ma'am was asking, you roam around a lot. I said, yes, I do. So I was supposed to deliver a session in a place called Guna, Guna. It's near Gwalior on the Bombay-Agra highway, some 200 odd kilometers from Bhopal, I suppose. And I was having a session in one of the plants of this gas or something. So I had a journey. I started at 8 o'clock in the morning. And that particular track, Bhopal, Bina, and then Guna. That Bina to Guna is a very dry track. Whosoever goes to Delhi by train, you definitely pass through this Bina all the time. Bina railway station's food is what actually the cardiologists they prescribe to have you after the cholesterol is found in the blood. बिना तेल बिना नमक मतलब उसमें खाना रहता है ये बहुत बड़ी बात है बाकी उसमें कुछ नहीं रहता that kind of food so I preferred not to have food there and then I had a journey I went and reached there at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon by then I had developed a headache because I didn't eat anything I was supposed to rest and next day I had my sessions planned now you try to do something which you normally do not do in the places where no one knows you do you agree to this point ऐसा होता है ना कि कोई ऐसी अनजान जगह गए तो हम लोग ऐसा कुछ करना चाहते हैं जो दुनिया हमें पहचानते नहीं है तो यू आर हैप्पी विद दैट सो आई हैड ऑलमोस्ट थॉट ऑफ दैट आई गॉट ऑफ द रेलवे स्टेशन इन चाइल्डहुड आई डिड I was just walking towards the Tonga. Suddenly, the Tonga wala probably does not enjoy his profession. He shouted, और वो आज भी मुझे बड़ा रोंगटे खड़े कर देता है उसका statement. He said, है कोई जिंदा लाश? हाँ, that's what he said. वो सवारी गिन रहा है कोई जिंदा लाश चलने के लिए. I was walking up to Tonga. I just turned back. I did not want to be called like that. And then suddenly, then I preferred to go with the other medium mode. So happened that I was thinking that why does he say so? And then I realized probably he doesn't like his job. Right? He does not like, maybe. So I was just thinking that if he does not like his job, probably someday out of that agony, out of that frustration, because Guna, when it was an old city, I remember that there used to be a kind of an embankment where, you had to go on that ramp and on both the sides there was a slope here and there and you will fall down almost 25-30 feet. So I was thinking if he does not like his job, someday he can die with 4 sawaris and 1 horse. उसकी कैपेसिटी है वो 4 सवारी और एक घोड़े को लेके मरने की ताकत रखता था. Then I actually started expanding this thought. Say for example, if a bus driver does not like his job, he has a capacity to take another 40-50 people along with him and die. If a train driver, I don't know exact number, but maybe around 800 to 1000. If it's a flight, maybe 450 to 500. इतने लोगों को लेके मरने की काबिलियत रखता है जो अपने जॉब को पसंद नहीं करता. Unfortunately, in case of teacher, his generation, he can take away with him. If the teacher has not taken the job with the sincerity and seriousness one should take, probably it will cost generations. That's exactly happens. And therefore, friends, that's exactly the influence spectrum of a teacher starts from a student, goes up to the generation, affects the nation. And therefore, one has to be very particular about these things that when we are carrying this particular job, it is something which have some responsibility on our shoulders because we are the leaders in the class. Every child looks at us with that particular intention. Right? Next, sir. So let us try to see what is our role. So definitely we all agree with the fact that yes, one primary role is the classroom teaching. That's something which we have been given. There are many new things which have been given which are we don't anticipate in the beginning when we come for an interview. What else we are supposed to do, right? They are all the bonuses, right? But we can think of many other things. So can we go? Maybe academic advising and counseling to students, though it's not something our domain, but yes, by default students they come to us. आते हैं ऐसे बच्चे अपने पास, ऐसे बच्चे जो अपने सब्जेक्ट को छोड़ के अपनी समस्या अगर लेके आते हैं, तब आप गुरु पूर्णिमा की सारी बधाइयां स्वीकार करें, राइट? कि वो अपना सब्जेक्ट छोड़ के कुछ और पूछने आया है, वो गुरु मान रहा है बाप को, राइट? सो एकेडमिक काउंसलिंग है या एडवाइजिंग है, उसको लग सकती है, लगती है, डेफिनेटली वो आते हैं. Then yes, that's something we may not enjoy, but we have to. That's the academic, departmental work, something we have to do. Committees, they keep coming, right? We also keep getting, though we are on the fences all the time, but we keep getting that. You did one session that time, you send us everything, and we have to go mining and find it out what exactly we did and what was the topic like. So this is something which we need to do additionally. These are the basic tasks we undertake. Yes, sir. Yeah, this particular part I would like to talk to you all. Believe me, this is not something related to us, but a lesson which I learned in a very hard way. We had somebody joined us long back, और चूंकि वो hard में से हमने समझा तो the person is not there. It's obvious. Everybody can understand that. So I found that the first year there was something called as a curriculum to be designed for the first year engineering on communication skills. Unfortunately, it was taken too lightly by the person who was assigned the task. And by the time it came to us, we realized that it had been borrowed from one of the petroleum university from Gujarat, and that classically was a syllabus of BBA, Business English Communication. When I saw the paper, I realized that probably we are butchering and we are really doing very harm to a kind of, because communication skills for engineering, there is a limit for it. You can't go beyond that. But if somebody is coming out of business English communication, which is meant for BBA as a credit course, and you are bringing it as a supplementary course, that is something not asked for, not wanted for. And that's the reason we have to be very particular. My request to all of you is that most of the times we do get we go to IITs and NITs, and we also try to get a few things out of this. But my request would be that yes, do try to find out what best can be done. Approved or not approved, that's up to BOS and the management. Let them do. But we need to come out with some better ideas. I'll just give one example, and I'm sure that some of you must be aware of this. Those who are belonging to the engineering domain, probably they'll agree with me on this. IIT Bhubaneswar has an open elective course, and that course is Bharatnatyam. So we learned a lesson out of it. So we were given a task by GHRC, and they said that you come out with the open electives, and we came out with something called as theatrical skills. Because we feel that probably this is one of the way where child can learn to express. Now the problem is system. System in the sense, we got the approval, but we are not finding the faculty. And now our theatrical skills are seen by the management. We are not able to hide ourselves, but at the same time, we are not able to provide the person for this. So we are searching for. So even open electives can come from in different forms. So keep eyes and ears open. Try to find what can be done for the kids. Idea may click, may not click, but there should be an idea. That's the first thing. So. And this exactly you all keep doing, and I know that that's something mandatorily done by each one of you. Nothing more to speak, very clearly understood by all of us. Can we go to the next slide? Now, what we'll do is we'll try to expand. So my focus area would definitely be, what's the time, Simran? Sir. So I need to finish in next half an hour. Or will you allow me another 15 minutes grace? I need to ask you. अच्छा, मैं ये इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ, बहुत समय पहले की बात है. एक बार मैं किसी प्रोग्राम के लिए, जब यहाँ मतलब मे भी 3-4 साल पहले की बात है, मैं उन नजरों को नहीं भूल सकता. क्या हुआ कि सर, why did I ask this time? I'll tell you a real life experience. Resource management is best known to our person who gives us the vehicles. Mr. Anis. So I did some program for GHRU only, and I was there some remote area, and I was talking to the students of the schools, etc., and talking to the teachers. It was winter. Suddenly, I got a call from Manish ji and said, "Sir, can you do one thing? What time will you start?" I said, "We are just finishing, and I'll start right away." He said, "Can you do a favor?" मैंने कहा बोलिए. एक काम कर सकते हैं कि आप अपनी वाली गाड़ी वहाँ छोड़ दीजिए, अकाउंट्स डिपार्टमेंट को समय लगेगा, तो वहां से रेमंड से आप राइट टर्न मार के अंदर आ जाइए, गाड़ी यहाँ छोड़ दीजिए और यहाँ की बस से आ जाइएगा. I was okay that I can take an ST, which was standing right there. I said I can take it and go. नहीं सर ऐसा मत कीजिएगा, आप वहां जाइए, आपके लिए बस खड़ी है. तो bus, that is a AC bus which takes the faculty members. So it took some time because it was a last minute change. तो हम लोग आए, धक्के खाते हुए पहुंचे. 5:15 बजा था. कुछ लोग लॉन में बैठे थे और जिन नजरों से देखा मुझे, मैं सारा वक्त नजरें उठा नहीं पाया जब तक वहां उतर नहीं गया. I was the culprit. I made everyone stay back for long. इसीलिए मैं ऐसी कोई गलती नहीं करने वाला. But 15 minutes, if you permit extras, probably I can do justice with what I am supposed to do. But I'll not go beyond that, I promise. Gentlemen promise. So what are those essentials for teachers? I know that you become teachers by virtue of the knowledge you have acquired. So can we go to the next one, sir? We are just talking about these basic competencies. We can go to the next. Here, I just would like to highlight something. I'm skipping some of the slides just because I don't want to spend too much of time on them. इसमें एक चीज याद रखिएगा कि हम लोग जब पढ़ाते हैं, थैंक यू. अच्छा, हम लोग जब पढ़ाते हैं तो हमारा इंस्ट्रक्शनल डिलीवरी, मतलब उसका ऑब्जेक्टिव एम किस तरफ जाता है ना. तो कई बार ऐसा माना जाता है, अपने डॉक्टर मुठाल हुआ करती थी, उनसे मेरा काफी एक बार डिबेट भी हुआ था इस बारे में. हालांकि वो बहुत ज्यादा, मतलब उनका उस बारे में नॉलेज बहुत ज्यादा है. So she said that you said teachers as leaders. She said they are facilitators. I said I do not deny that fact. But if kids, they want to treat him as a leader, how can we go into the minds of kids and say no to it? Right. And then she said that why am I calling it facilitator? Because the basic role a teacher should play is not of teaching students, but to create an environment of learning. So moment we are teacher centric and try to teach, and if we become learner centric and try to make child learn, that's the difference. Now I know the kind of kids we are dealing with. I'll talk about generation Z if time permits, but yes, that's a challenging stage and age we are dealing with. So this is more to do with instructional delivery. How do we deal with it? Next please. Formative assessments. This something is expected from each one of us. I know that we keep doing, some of us might be doing it. The formative assessment, because during the course of the formation of the knowledge the child is gaining through us, do we have a tendency to keep on checking, right? Whether how much is learnt. Because I learned it in a very hard way. I could correlate it only when I learned these things. When I was a child, I used to go along with my mother. I used to stay in a very backward district of Madhya Pradesh. So my mother took me to the Sabzi Bazaar, and there we came across the teacher of Hindi. I know her name. So teacher ne kaha ki by that time it was a result. We were about to get it. We did not get it, but she knew. So she said he did not do good in Hindi this time, and it happened to be the final exam. तो मुझे तो बड़ा बुरा लगा, मैं वापस आ गया. माम ने सब्जी तो कम खरीदी, बाकी तो फिर मेरे से बात की जो करनी थी. But when I was relating it to the summatives and formatives, I realized that yes, summative is something which you are getting at the end, but formative is something which helps you to understand the learning of the child at every stage, and you can make the corrective measures whenever required. It is something like somebody calls you for food, like Simran calls me for dinner. It's not supposed to, right? So she calls me for dinner. So Simran would like to offer me something good. Say, for example, she goes for something called as chola bhatura. So she needs to prepare for it. भटूरे के लिए तो एक दिन पहले से उसको ईस्ट वीस्ट डाल के खमीर लाना पड़ता है. मैं गृह कार्य में दक्ष हूं, राइट? मुझे मालूम है कैसा किया जाता है. Now when she is making the भटूरा पार्ट, तो उसको भिगोना, फिर उबालना, उबालने के बाद फिर उस पर प्रोसेसिंग करना. तो does she test it in between? बीच बीच में उसको दबा के देखेंगे ये पूरा उबल गया कि नहीं गया, उबल गया। अगर उसका सब कुछ मसाला डाल दिया तो एक टेस्ट रहेगा कि कितना नमक है, कितना क्या है, ऐसा होता है ना। And she'll keep doing it till the time she gets it to the way she feels is the right way. That exactly is called as formative assessment. During the process, what you are doing and trying to see whether it's getting into a right direction or there's a formative assessment. Summative is when I go to her, when she offers me that, when I have my first car, and I say, wow, that's summative. Right. So summative gates comes at a very later stage, but formative can always be done. Formative assessment is something we can plan in the classrooms. You can get an idea. Students will get immensely benefited with this. At the same time, you also can get a pulse of the people, those who are falling behind. And that's something you can incorporate into your day-to-day things. I'm skipping few of the things, but we'll go with the other one. I'll focus on these personal competencies because these are the skills. They are called soft, and again it's a debatable issue. Moment it is called as soft, we lose the very interest into it. Those belonging to the engineering background will agree with me. Technical skills or any skills for that matter are called as hard skills. But when it comes to the soft skills, by nature, since they are called soft, we take them very softly. But what happens is we get hired for our technical skills, we get hired for our hard skills, but we may get fired for the lack of soft skills. That's something which is a challenge for all of us. And therefore, this personal competencies and the soft skills something we should look into because it is something like big boss. I don't know शिक्षा के मंदिर में ऐसी बातें करना चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन जस्ट एक चीज समझे अगर आप बिग बॉस जैसे इससे, हैव यू सीन व्हाट हैपेंस इन द फर्स्ट फ्यू डेज? They try to make friends, they try to stay good with each other, they try to मैं रोटी ले आता हूँ तो चावल ले आ, kind of दोस्ती चलती रहती है. And there comes a time when resources are shrinking, when there is something to be voted out, ऐसा कुछ आता है, and then we get into our natural element. And we get to the natural element, it does not remain the big boss, it becomes a beep boss. Everything has to be beeped, can't be aired, right? So this exactly happens in the workplace also. Only thing is the degree is not that high, but it happens that way. And therefore we need to understand that yes, this personal competencies is something which we need to look at, and it will definitely help us to establish ourselves as a leader in the classroom. Next slide, please. I'll talk to you about few basic things. As I said, that we are here by virtue of our knowledge. And yes, we definitely are very good at the knowledge related to the domain what we are. That's the reason we are here. But when it comes to the, having a knowledge of all these things, what kind of method do you want to adopt to anything? But the most important thing is the knowledge about the surroundings. Can we go to the next one, sir? This is where the leadership gets into picture. If I know the students, I know their needs, if I know their levels, if I know the backgrounds do they belong to, probably I'll be able to handle that child in a better way. It is not only the transaction of the knowledge, but it is something where I'm trying to empathize with students. I can't do anything additional, but at least I can make him understand that I feel what you are going through. So therefore, understanding the needs, levels, and background. I'm not saying it's new to you. You all have been practicing it. I'm not denying that fact, but there's something I'm just underlining and focusing on. Next, please. Try to know more and create an environment where students also feel like asking you more, trying to know as much as possible. Next, please, sir. Now, you can click twice. I don't have the control, so I have to trouble my friend, Mr. Yogesh. एक और click, sir. एक और. That's all. So when it comes to the teaching part, what we are doing is we are trying to break that complexity of the subject into the simpler one. That's how it applies to everything in our life. But I would like to draw your attention to something. Good teachers are master of simplification, but enemy of simplism. That's something I want you to draw your attention to. So what is simplism? What is simplification? And can I have some answers on this? A good teacher is master of simplification, but enemy of simplism. Simplification means to explain in such a way that the students would be able to understand. Done. Absolutely, sir. So sir has already taken one step. Let me take another step. Simplism is means we are not here to make their lives easy. We are not going to let them know that exactly this is going to be asked in the papers. We want them to acquire the entire knowledge across, because that's what is required. And therefore we can see, otherwise also what as teachers our aim should be, they don't just perform good in the four walls of the colleges and the schools and the classes, but they perform well in the real life. That's the purpose, no? That's the obvious purpose we all have. And that's why a teacher shouldn't make their life easy. You can make subject easy for them. That's the point I'm trying to make here. So definitely knowledge, you all have it. That's why you all are here. And as regards to leadership is concerned, I would always like to focus on this particular part, because they are the followers sitting there. And if you understand them, probably you are establishing. We don't want to establish, but you are establishing the fact that there's problems can be heard of. You know? Next, sir. Now you'll agree with me that every time we need a great deal of preparation whenever we go to a class, because I have few reasons to explain. Not all will be explained, but I'll tell you few of those. Can we go, sir, to the other ones? We know that significance, and I'm sure that we are practicing it as well. Yeah, can you stay here, sir? Classroom teaching, learning, and there is a mention of once in life. I'll ask you a very simple thing. When we go out somewhere, Delhi, Bombay, Goa, or Vaishno Devi, Kanyakumari, so you must have seen that you spend a lot of time seeing things, don't you? है ना? अगर आप कहीं आमेर चले गए, जयपुर चले गए, यहाँ कोई हिस्टोरिकल प्लेसेस में चले गए, अगर आप सिंहगढ़ के किले पे चले गए, तो व्हाट डू यू डू? यू स्पेंड लॉट ऑफ टाइम वॉचिंग थिंग्स. करते हैं या नहीं करते? माउंट आबू जाने के बाद सनसेट सनराइज, कन्याकुमारी जाने के बाद सनसेट सनराइज, उठ के दौड़ के सुबह शाम बिल्कुल नींद कम लेते हुए हर चीज लेते हैं, हर चीज कैप्चर करने की कोशिश करते हैं, है ना? करते हैं कि नहीं करते? व्हाई डू वी डू दिस? Yeah, we are paid for that, and we'll not get the chance to go again. Well said, sir. We'll not get the chance that frequently to go again. So that's why we want to take the best out of everything. Even kids are sleeping, we make them, चलो 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 sunset देखना, sunset. हम सबको उठा के sunrise, sunset सब दिखा देते हैं बिल्कुल. We want to capture every moment. But do we do it in Nagpur? Do we do it in Saikheda campus? Oh, क्या दीवार है. Do we sit? Do we try to take selfies? No, we don't do that. Reason being, it's a daily routine for us. I know that every time I'm going to come here. And that's the reason I do not get connected to that very extent. Because I know that I'll not be, say for example, we go to states. Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm reading and in between the lines as well. Right? So we have not paid for. If what point I'm trying to make here is that, like visiting, say for example, we are going from our place to, we are coming to the college, main college from our place, wherever we stay. We are not getting, very much engrossed seeing the beauty, scenic beauty aside, because वो रोज का काम है, so we don't value it. Now just imagine, a classroom is a routine for you. That particular topic is a routine for you. Must have taught to a number of batches in your life, so probably it might be a routine. But believe me, friends, this child will never get that again. That is once in a life for him. इसका एक छोटा सा एग्जाम्पल मैं आपको रियल लाइफ एग्जाम्पल बताता हूँ, बिकॉज आपसे मैं बाद में रेटर की भी बात करने वाला हूँ. Recently, I was approached by one person working in HDFC, and they wanted to meet me. When it comes to the admission, I always suggest that I am the last one to be called, because I know nothing about things. I do not want to give a wrong message to somebody. This fellow was so insistent. He called me. I said, we have one gentleman who knows everything. I'll connect it to you. नहीं sir, आप ही से बात करनी है. Finally, I gave whatsoever I knew, but this person was sitting next to me. I said, बताते चलो what exactly, because he wants to know it from me. So he said, is it okay if we come and meet you next morning? I said, most welcome. So next morning they came. How you learn a lesson in life? Now we know the fees, what we charge from the students. The child had received some around 48% in the MS CET. Hell-bent to do CS. I told him twice. These exams are done to know whether we are capable of doing certain things or not. अगर नहीं हो तो मत उसके पीछे जाओ, कुछ और करो, हर चीज अच्छी है, कोई बुरा नहीं. But this fellow was very much. Now the gentleman was very apologetic to himself and his child because ये कोविड के कारण हमने ध्यान नहीं दे पाए, ज्यादा अच्छा नहीं कर पाए करके वो ऐसा बता रहे थे. This child was not speaking much but was very much fixed on CS, चाहे कहीं से भी होगा CS ही करना. And the mother was feeling like speaking but was not speaking. So I drew my attention to her and I said, ma'am, do you want to say something? And she said, ये चार, मैं चाहती हूँ कि ये जो चाहे वो करें, ये 4 साल फिर से आने नहीं वाले. And I could feel वो अंदर से जो उनका दर्द था ना, because the fees for 4 years, the hard work for 4 years, the compromises, sacrifices for those 4 years, and the mother is concerned that it will not come back again in his life. He should be honest to himself. That's exactly what is going to happen in the class when a child is going to be in that particular class for a particular day. अगर आपका टीचिंग प्लान पूरा देख लेंगे तो आप देखेंगे ये पर्टिकुलर बैच इसी दिन इस पर्टिकुलर क्लास में आने वाली है, उसके बाद में नहीं आने वाली. So that is something what is called as once in lifetime. And if it is once in lifetime, then we have to give that feel once in lifetime to the child. For us, though it's a routine class, but for the child, it is going to be a once in lifetime experience. Be on toes, deliver the best, and ensure that the child takes something from us that day. So that's something I look forward for. So please. Yeah, there are plenty of things we can do. Do you know that who got Bharat Ratna along with Sachin Tendulkar? There was a person, he was awarded. Some of you may recall. Yeah, Professor Rao. And he was the one, he was awarded Bharat Ratna along with Sachin Tendulkar. None of us actually recall. You recall, sir, that's great. You know, one of the best thing, I read it in the, I haven't seen him. So I read it in the newspaper that whenever you used to go to the class, students were always curious, what is today? It became a signature style to get into the class with something where students are curious about what is going to be. And that exactly that, that inquisitiveness, that's how it comes. A story was told by one of the very senior trainer. He told a story like when he was in Karnataka and when he was undergoing through his schooling, and द्रौपदी चीर हरण का प्रसंग क्लास के अंदर चल रहा था और वो सर जो थे वो पूरे क्लास में घूमते हुए वो बता रहे हैं और पूरा माहौल उन्होंने बिल्कुल वहीं लेके गए थे. पूरा द्वापर युग के अंदर सारी क्लास उस सर की मूवमेंट को फॉलो कर रही है. एंड दैट सर इज टेलिंग ऑलमोस्ट एवरीथिंग. सर इज इन लिटरली इन क्राई, ही इज क्राइंग, ही इज इन टीयर्स. एंड एट वन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम व्हेन ही पास वेरी नियर टू दिस चाइल्ड, उसने अचानक, and sir looked at him. He said, I felt as if something was connected straight away. So teachers can make an environment of that sort in the classroom. इसीलिए आजकल क्या बोलते हैं कि teachers also should be fully equipped with what is called as theatrics, because theory has to be dealt with theatrics to make it more interesting. That's what they say. I am not expecting that we do it all together, but yes, there's something to be ponder upon, we can think of. Yeah, so long as we are going to make it with the real life, examples, and we are trying to get them to the, as per their understanding and their language, if we are able to make our, the plans, probably we'll be able to reach and make him understand the topic better. Simran, you need to tell me the time also. I don't want to break my promise. 406. Can we go to the next one, sir? Yeah, this is something I would like to talk a bit. Now, communication, believe it or not, even I can tell you about I'll tell you a study. I'm not saying that the study applies to us, but that study gives us an idea. This study was done for tier 2, tier 3 kind of colleges. This study was done for the students of 900 tier 2, tier 3 engineering colleges. This study was done on 15,000 students. All had scored more than 60%. And they belong to IT sector. And when the students went for the job market, and when companies had all the parameters in place, it was found that only 7% of the students were found worth to get the jobs. Now that was a question, like why so many students coming from good renowned colleges are more than 60%. What is the struggle? Where they are failing? So they said that there are two essential things they should do, are they good at, and if they are, probably they may get the jobs better. And when companies put only two of the parameters, one was communication and the other one was problem solving, it was found that 35% of the people were able to get the jobs. So definitely we can't neglect the fact that in most of the cases communication, and when it comes to our profession, communication becomes very vital. Yes, it is one of the most essential skill, which is a leadership skill also, because communication helps you. We can see an example, not going political, but I'm just giving you a comparison. There cannot be a denial to patriotism of Dr. Manmohan Singh. His contribution to the country, there is no denial. Only problem is he does not tell what he did. Right? I am not saying the other one tells and does nothing, but I am saying that yes, there is a difference. How is he taking? In fact, when P.V. Narasimha Rao made him the finance minister in the year 1991, it was stated that the right person at the right place at the right time. That's what was said. Today also, Nitin Gadkari in the recent past had attributed all this good is happening to Dr. Manmohan Singh, stating that it was he who brought those reforms. He was the one who worked at a salary of 1 rupee per year for the, that's the dedication this person has. But just because he can't express himself, we find that he's not somebody who can be termed as a leader. There's no denial about what he is. So definitely communication becomes very vital. Now, I'll tell you a few things here, which I don't know whether we do it or not, but has been observed. As a child, we must have heard many phrases which are very commonly spoken in the classroom by our teachers. Can we recall those? There are many things our teachers have said to us, may not be very affirmative and very positive all the time, but they are said. Pardon? Ma'am? Okay. And there are plenty of things. Some are discouraging ones also. Yes, sir. वो भी था. Homework नहीं किया तो. नहीं, but there are some phrases which are blanketly said to everyone. One of the most common slogan of a teacher was, "This 6th D will never pass." तो हम सोचते थे कि इतना क्या कॉन्फिडेंस है. हमको लगता था कि टीचर का कॉन्फिडेंस कितना है हम पे. This will never pass. Keep quiet. Don't do. These are the common. यही सिखाया पेरेंट्स ने. राइट? ये बहुत कॉमन चीज है. हम रिकॉल नहीं कर पाते, लेकिन ये बहुत कॉमन चीज है. You'll be surprised that why our people are not able to do anything, because they have been told not to do things for n number of times. And you know what that n, the value of n is? The study says right from our childhood till the time we became adolescents, we have been told at least 65 to 70,000 times don't do. So we don't do anything. And Mr. Narayana Murthy has very aptly written in Reader's Digest, one of the articles long back I read. He said that Indians have been ruled by the others for so many years, hundreds of years. So Indians don't have a psyche of doing anything on their own. Just imagine there is Bihar. Nothing wrong with the state, but I'm just giving you a real life situation. It is always in floods and most of the times when it rains. And now nobody is able to reach, nobody is able to rescue. People are literally on their own. Some of them are almost submerging, about to die. And no one is able to reach there. Deepak Chaurasia reaches. आज तक दीपक चौरासिया. वो नाव ले जाके उस डूबते हुए आदमी के सामने पहुंचता है. वो डूबने वाला रहता है, बार बार ऊपर नीचे होता है. उससे पूछता है कैसा लग रहा है. वो आदमी पूरी ताकत लगा के एक बार फिर पानी के बाहर आता है, कहता है प्रशासन कुछ नहीं कर रहा है. ये जो प्रशासन कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, ये जो हैबिट है, that someone else will come and solve my problem, is something which you have developed as a psyche, and that's where the problem lies. So coming back. हाँ. So communication मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ, because we are tuned to certain words and phrases and we feel we are like that. That is one. Second thing is, Believe it or not, and I am making a statement, पूरी जिम्मेदारी के साथ एक statement में देता हूं कि sarcasm is one of the biggest tool teachers they oftenly use in the classrooms. They become sarcastic. They do not talk straight, but they will tell you something sarcastically, and constantly that is happening to the child. So communication should not be sarcasm. Communication shouldn't be something which you are telling something so affirmatively that the child starts believing it. I'm not saying the fluency in speaking. I'm not speaking about a particular language being spoken. I'm saying that yes, this way that child understands. That's the part I would like to discuss a bit. Can you go back, sir? Piche. Right. Real life story. I was talking to, I don't know whom did I talk to, Santham Public School. I think I was talking to our speaker today morning. I was telling about one of the Santham school in Bombay. It's a Christian missionary school. I had been there for 3 days for training teachers. They were talking about one teacher, one of the most efficient teacher they had, but she belonged to South. And her accent was so heavily loaded with that kind of mother tongue influence it had. You know, the best of the teachers also could not get the best remarks because they were not able to connect with that child. She was not able to connect with those children, and that's where the problem. So a lot of things that depend on the communication, the way we do it, the kind of things we speak in the class, that all depends. One of the things which, as teachers, I don't know how much do we practice it. Is it a monologue in the class? God knows. Or it is something which is dialogue we prefer because we have some loads. I'm not saying that we don't want to do it, but we have some other pressing time is there. There are so many things. But you know, one thing which we are missing slowly is something called as listening skills. I have been dealing with people for last so many years. I can definitely make it out how many are listening to me and how many aren't. It happens. The body language starts showing. In fact, I can tell a lie, but my body language cannot lie. I always can tell a lie. I must have developed a mastery of telling a lie, but the body language will never ever tell a lie. So students, are you enjoying the class? That's the body language that conveys. Child says yes, but body language says something. Once the Russian aircraft was shot down by Turkey, and some 240 people, they died, unfortunately, and they were civilians. The international pressure rose. Turkey had to apologize. The Turkish foreign minister was supposed to apologize. What happened was, if suppose I want to say sorry to you, right? Not for taking a class, but if suppose, just an example, if I want to say sorry, what can be a possible body language for this? Where I'll be bending forward, I'll be very apologetic, I'll be nodding my hand affirmatively. I'm extremely sorry for what happened. I'll assure you that it will never happen again. This kind of thing I'll say. Now this Turkish foreign minister in front of world media, standing, reading and stating, we are extremely sorry for what happened. Now the body language tells what he means. He's saying sorry because there's an international pressure. अभी मजे की बात यह है कि हम लोग बॉडी लैंग्वेज को कैसे पढ़ पाते हैं भगवान ही मालिक, लेकिन ये बड़ी हकीकत है कि बच्चे लोग भी बॉडी लैंग्वेज समझते हैं. They understand. The teacher is aloof, teacher is tense, teacher is something. They keep telling us. अगर अपने ही घरों में अपने बच्चों की बात सुन ले तो अपने को समझ में आ जाता है कि आज ना मूड अच्छा नहीं था, वादी प्रतिवादी दोनों को एक एक चांटा लगाया है. मैं शिकायत लेके गया था, मुझे भी और मेरे साथ जो गए थे उनको भी, दोनों को एक एक पड़ गई. तो they know that how they, things are. I always say that we have power to evaluate a child, but the children have wisdom to evaluate us. Believe me, our communication also begins from the way we carry ourselves. Our attire is a communication. Our appearance is a communication. Our behavior is a communication. Our communication is communication. Our non-verbal communication is a communication. And therefore, communication is something that has to be practiced because that's the only way we can express the knowledge to that child that can reach to him. So believe me, whether we find there is a need or not, but I do know that there is a need for this and we can work upon. This is going to be the tool for us all the time. Communication. I am not insisting that it should be English alone. हम लोग शुद्ध विशुद्धतम स्वरूप की हिंदी में भी अपनी वार्तालाप कर सकते हैं. हम किसी भाषा में बात कर सकते हैं, लेकिन उसको शुद्धता के तरीके से, और वो बच्चे तक हमारी बात को पहुंचना चाहिए इस तरीके से. Listening के बारे में I have told you that yes, whenever we are asking a question, please be attentive on every child's response. Please acknowledge right or wrong, that is immaterial, but child has dared to speak in the classroom, acknowledge it. कई बार हम लोग Alok is sitting here, so many times we have done that in the trainers training programs, that we ask a question, suddenly before Simran responds, I go to the next one. So I'm neglecting the child somewhere, she's trying to say something and I'm not giving that scope to. I need to have a very patient ear for everyone who is in my class. Not everybody wants to come and talk to me, but yes, when they come, they do want to talk to us. As I said, formative, the reconfirmation of learning can always be there. So please reconfirm whatsoever is being taught in the class. You can reconfirm it by a small quiz, by just managing the entire classroom's time. So probably you'll get a fair idea about, how much did they understand. It should not be an interrogative way of asking, but it can be some way of asking, like, where a child feels like speaking. Encourage children to speak in the class. Not when you're teaching, but when you're asking questions. Next, please. Another thing is the feedback. Now, there are few things where we don't have to ask for, and that's the first one. Do we have to ask them the feedback? We get it without asking. We get the feedback from our heads. They do tell us what happened. Students can always give us a feedback. Now, this feedback need not to be, where we are classically asking him for a feedback and he's giving a feedback, not kind of thing. The facial expression can also be can tell you. Recently, I was called in this one of the state government department where they are doing some kind of workshops for the entrepreneurs in the village areas. So, very website, they wanted me to make some observations. The very website, there is a trainer training, and somebody had a camera. Probably he only clicked it, and every eye was on the camera. That tells a lot. Right, nobody actually bothered to see what is happening in the class, but they all are having an eye contact there. So if you wish to engross the class, तो आपको ना बच्चों की बॉडी लैंग्वेज से आपको बहुत अच्छा पता लग जाता है whether they are there with you. In fact, if we keep a very close watch on the body language of all the kids in the class, you get a feel. Majority of students in the class are the fence sitters. They are sitting on the fences and they are waiting for somebody to disrupt the class. They'll be on that side, and they see if teacher is controlling the class, they'll be on the teacher's side. But majority is the disruptors, fence sitters are there. There are essentially, every time you get into the classroom, you'll find that there are essentially some students, maybe 10-15% of your class, they are very much ready to attend your class and want to learn. They are the ones, those who are eager, their body language will always be very positive. They'll nod when you say something, they'll agree, they'll look at you, they'll constantly keep eye contact. These are the kids. They are the ones, those are stepping stones for you in the class. They are going to help you to establish in the class so long as you're standing there for the first time. And of course, every class has its own quota of terrorists sitting there, those who are there to disrupt. There are ways to do it, but yes, your skills should actually conquer them more than getting into an altercation with them. That's not advisable. There are students those are there to disrupt, but they disrupt only when they feel that there is a gap to disrupt. So you can get a feedback without asking from the students, of course. You can always do the self-assessment. I always tell a story for this. The story goes like this. There was एक sculptor बनाने वाला था, मूर्तिकार, और वो मूर्ति बना रहा था, और वो बड़ी सी मूर्ति पे काम कर रहा था. तो छेनी हथौड़ा लेके वो मूर्ति गढ़ रहा था. So there was somebody, वो कौन सा सिनेमा था जिसमें परेश रावल का ऐसा हेयर स्टाइल था, क्वेश्चन मार्क वाला? हाँ. So there is a Paresh Lawal kind of person sitting in the class, in that place. वो आता है and he says, क्या कर रहे हो? Because Paresh Lawal used to ask questions in the movie, no? क्या कर रहे हो? तो he said कि एक मूर्ति बना रहा हूँ. फिर क्या करोगे? बोले इसको ऊपर लगाना है. कितनी बड़ी मूर्ति है? बोले 25 फीट की मूर्ति है. अच्छा, लगाएंगे कहाँ? बोले ये जो प्लेटफॉर्म है ना, ये 25 फीट का यहाँ पर, उस पर ये चढ़ेगी और फिर लगेगी. तो दो बनानी है क्या? बोले नहीं, दो नहीं, एक ही बनानी थी. तो फिर आप दूसरी क्यों बना रहे हो? तो ये अपना काम ही कर रहा है. He did not stop his working. He said कि नहीं, उसमें थोड़ा सा एक प्रॉब्लम आ गया है, इसीलिए. This fellow goes and roams around twice, thrice and does not find anything wrong with that. तो फिर वो कहता है इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? तो उसने कहा कि उसके नोज के वहां एक स्क्रैच आ गया है. This fellow says 25 फीट की प्रतिमा है, प्लेटफॉर्म 25 फीट का है, उसके ऊपर लगेगी, मुझे यहां नहीं दिख रहा है तो लोगों को वहां कहां से दिखेगा, यही लगा दो. For the first time during the conversation, the person kept aside his tools, looked at him, and smiled. He said, people may not know, but I know and the God knows. That's why this self assessment is something which will always tell you inside your class, how did you do today? Sometimes we do not even know that why our mood is suddenly gone off just because I couldn't do what I wanted to do in this class. Because students are so innocent, they do not know anything what we are going to do there. But as a teacher, we know what I had planned and where I deviated or delivered wrong somewhere, did not deliver up to the mark. That particular teacher knows. And that's why the sculptor said, I know and my God knows. And that's exactly this self assessment can help you be brutally honest to yourself when you are doing self assessment. Because you need to know that every day you have to come out with some kind of refinement in you. We are like those mobile phones. If you look at our oldest mobile phones, probably they must be at your places, but doing a job of paperweights. Job role change हो गया मोबाइल फोन्स का पुराने वाले. लेकिन अगर आप उन मोबाइल फोन्स की ट्रांसफॉर्मेशंस को देखेंगे तो प्रॉब्ली स्ट्रक्चरली बहुत कुछ अलग हो गया है. But every time they have been refining and coming out with the latest possible version. We also need to launch latest possible version of ourselves so that we don't get stale and stagnant. It is not meant for the others, it is meant for self. Because I don't say that wherever you work in your life, but you should be in the demand as far as industry is concerned. People should be behind you that he is somebody or she is somebody worth expecting to be a part of our team. That's the way we should set our standards. Next, please. लीडरशिप स्किल का एक छोटा सा हिस्सा ही मैं बताऊंगा, ज्यादा नहीं बताऊंगा, बिकॉज मोस्टली मैंने वो सारे फोकस एरिया वही रखे हैं. कर दीजिए पूरा. As I said, that people will come to you whenever they treat you as a leader. No, one strange thing you need to find out: whenever people they come to you, they will never come for anything else, but they'll come with a problem because they think that you may solve that. And that's my personal experience in life. When I got my first promotion, I was very happy because I had got so many things to do then. But in next 4-5 months, I realized it's a very thankless job. I am designated, I roam around the country, I can fly, I can do n number of things, but I can't have my breakfast and lunch and dinner properly. आप ब्रेकफास्ट ले रहे हैं कहीं बैठ के और अचानक 4-5 लोग, सर देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम, गले में रखी इडली वहीं क्या. One day I went to my boss and I said, boss, I don't like this kind of a job. Boss said, why? I said, everybody thinks I am a complaining boss. Everybody comes and keeps a complaint with me. Boss said, be happy. I said, why? They think that you can solve their problems. My boss, unfortunately, is no more, but he was somebody who was in a very different class altogether. He said, whenever they come to you and whenever they feel that you can solve the problems, so long as people are coming to you with the problems, always think that you are the leader. They feel that you are going to solve someone's problem. And therefore, friends, understand the problem. You see, a problem solving skill is not related to only the domains where we are working, but it's related to the people, related to the situations. These problem solving skills are nothing but the higher order thinking skills. Are you aware of Bloom's taxonomy? I'm sure everybody is, right? So when we talk of Bloom's taxonomy, we talk about there are two kinds of skill sets. One is lower order thinking skills and higher order thinking skills. I am not making this statement, but this statement is made by three different statements have been made by three different people, and very prominent one. Very prominent one. One is our ex-president, late Sri Pranab Mukherjee, when he was conferred with DLIT by Dhaka University. Other one is Mr. Ramadurai. Earlier, he was with TCS and subsequently he went to NSDC, and Infosys, Mr. Narayana Murthy. इस सारी चीजों का लुब्बो लवाब ये है कि मतलब ऐसा है, अगर आप इसको ऐसा देखें कि इनिशियल फेज में जो हमको चीजें करनी पड़ती है वो अभी भी करनी पड़ती है, जो कह सकते हैं कि लोअर ऑर्डर थिंकिंग स्किल्स कहला सकती हैं, वो है रिमेंबरिंग, अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड अप्लाइंग. But majority of people are of the opinion that nobody is able to go beyond applying as far as our system is concerned. We are not able to produce students, those who think beyond applying, where we can solve the problem. How do we solve a problem? We try to analyze. Thomas Alva Edison is the best example I recall in these cases, where You come across a problem, you define the problem, you try to see what best can be done with this, you try to analyze, you think critically, you come out with certain solutions, then you try to weigh those solutions against each other, and sometimes you come out with a solution which is not been thought of. And that's why Thomas Alva Edison, why do I give that example of Thomas Alva Edison? Because when he made the electric bulb, once he was in a press conference and a reporter asked him that what has happened to your electric bulb, and he said that right is going on right now, I am the only man on this earth who knows 4,000 ways of not making an electric bulb. He had failed those many times. By the time actually he came out with one, he had failed 10,000 times. So every time he followed the same thing. Failure, he applied his logic, failed, analyzed, thought critically, came out with multiple solutions, weighed them against each other, and tried to think something which was not done before. And that's how he kept on doing and did it for 10,000. That's the reason he has almost 100 patents or so in his name. And that's the reason, friends, problem solving should be a domain of teacher. That's why I talked about conflict resolution as one of the skills of the teacher leaders. Because you have a number of situations in the classroom where conflicts are bound to happen. I'll just talk about this energy level, leadership. If we like what we do, the flow of energy is absolutely spot on. But if we do something which we do not like, we get tired, we get fatigued, we develop headache, we don't want to work to it, everything happens to it. And therefore, my request to all of you is, please do ask. Normally I always suggest those Japanese ikigai. There are 4 questions we need to ask ourselves every time, every day. That what do I love to do? What am I good at? What does the world want? And what will I get paid for? That's something we need to ask ourselves. So these are the things. And yes, teachers, they always stand very strong when it comes to the moral and the values, because they do not have any kind of ethical dilemma. And that's the reason we can create an environment where our students can get immensely from us. Just एक थोड़ा सा deviation लेके मैं आपसे एक बात और कर लेता हूं कि how Confucius defined teachers. Confucius defined teachers as teacher is somebody who is a source of. And now I expect what he must have said. What do you think? A teacher should be a source of knowledge. Hey, you can say anything because it's not only I know. Confucius has said and many have read, so you can come out with an answer. EQ and IQ, sir, I'll partially take it because there is one part into it. Source, developing society. In fact, probably we are thinking too complex. It's a very easier answer, I can tell you. Moral, Pansa? Inspiration, moral and ethics, sir? Shaping the student. Sir, I couldn't get that. Enthusiasm. Okay, great. You know, Confucius says that teacher should be a source of love. That's the first thing he says. He says teacher should be a source of love. Second thing he says, should be morally upright and ethically correct. If somebody is worthy of being called teacher. And that's why we need to ask few questions to ourselves. Before I go to the last slide, we need to ask few questions ourselves every day. And the question, and please mind all this, since I said Confucius says this way, so let me put this question also in the same fashion. Do I love my profession? I'm not saying like, I'm saying, do I love my profession? First question, you need to ask yourself, and every day you should ask. Do I love my subject? And what can be the third one in this line? Do I love my college students? The question is, I'll just reframe, sir has said it. Can I love students with the same intensity with which I love my own children? Then we can say that I am in a right place. Now those who are not married and don't have children need not to leave tomorrow. Sir, not eligible to answer any of these. But my suggestion is look at these questions again and again. Because for me, it is I love it to the extent of madness. That's why. Do I love my profession? Do I love my subject? Can I love my students with the same intensity with which I love my own children? Then probably we are at a right place in a right kind of a job. If the answers are affirmative, till the time you keep getting affirmative answers, you can always tell, yes, I deserve to be here. इसका एक रियल लाइफ एग्जांपल मैं आपको बताता हूँ. I finished one of the classes in one of the schools because I am a CBSE school teacher, trainer. So there was, class went well. Class teacher wanted me to come and have some snacks along with her, which I was looking forward for. Not today, but that day. And a lady came and gave an application to ma'am. She went through and I could see a change of expression on face. And this lady wanted me to read what that lady had given. Miss Principal wants me to read what the teacher has given. So I went through. Initially, I was reluctant to read because it's between the teacher and the principal is the interdepartmental thing. Who am I to read that? But she wanted me to read. And the teacher had mentioned that her son is studying in 10th standard and she wants 2 months leave to attend the child. Nothing wrong. I said, okay. My concern is, son is in 10th. That was my concern. The teacher said, we have 60 here in the class she is dealing with. So, can I love my student with the same intensity with which 60 बच्चे यहाँ के छोड़ के वो अपने बच्चे के लिए जा रही है, तो ये 60 बच्चों का चिंता कौन करेगा? That was her concern. But yes, ऐसे dilemmas आते हैं. So again, stating that, do I love my profession? Do I love my subject? And can I love my students with the same intensity with which I love my own children? That's something. Yes, sir. मतलब अच्छा सर आजकल वो बंद हो गया है बट वी आर नॉट अवर्स टू इट probably you must have received I did always right लेकिन एक है कि the way we are today probably we are on the track and you must be following the way we all follow in terms of rules and ethics and morals whatsoever we follow but yes वो concerns है we also scolded by our parents no they always scolded ऐसा तो है नहीं even today I find it so difficult to stand in front of my father he's octogenarian but I have to even he gets annoyed with if suppose I have to go out since I lost my mother almost 12 years ago now he's alone and we stay with him I have seen that the moment he knows that I'm going out I can see the tantrums I find it difficult to tell him that I'm going out today right so can you go to the next one sir ये एक छोटा सा स्केल मैं आपको बता देता हूँ ये मतलब एक ऐसा रेटर स्केल कहलाएगा अब जैसे स्टेक होल्डर्स में पेरेंट्स भी आ जाते हैं हमने स्टूडेंट्स के बारे में बात कर ली मैनेजमेंट के बारे में बात कर ली जब इंस्टीट्यूशंस के और इसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं हियर सर कैन यू फ्लैश इन वन गो सारा कर दीजिए दिस इज क्लासिकली कॉल्ड इज रेटर स्केल ये एक्चुअली सर्विस इंडस्ट्री से रिलेटेड है ना ये हमारे एकेडमिक्स में आपको देखने को कम मिलेगा लेकिन मैंने थोड़ा सा उसको मतलब ये समझ लीजिए कि चाइनीज कोई डिश है और मैंने उसको साउजीफाई कर दिया है ना अपने अगर चाइनीज डिश जो बनता है वो साउजीफिकेशन हो गया उसका ऑलरेडी इवन चाइनीज कांट रिकॉग्नाइज सो are we consistently and dependably able to extend the services what we provide that's all we are in the field of education that exactly I mean to say by reliability I also want to say the kind of skillful knowledgeable and wonderful faculty members we have that assurance can we give to those parents not by promising but by executing our task the way we should tangibles I always see that there is no dearth of tangibles when it comes to RGI right we have plenty of tangibles we can show the kind of infrastructure we have the fleet of buses the kind of the force with which we work everything is there the brochures we have to everything what we have that tangibles are there if those reach to the parents nothing like that we learn to empathize only one thing I'd like to say in empathy that whenever a child in some kind of things I'm not saying that all the time they're right but yes they have we should give listening to them at least एम्पथी का सीधा सीधा मतलब है कि समानुभूति, वेयर आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट वन इज गोइंग थ्रू. समटाइम्स दे आर जेन्युइन केसेस, वी कैन एक्चुअली, सहानुभूति से थोड़ा अलग, समानुभूति, राइट. सहानुभूति सिंपथी हो जाता है और समानुभूति एम्पथी हो जाता है. हम उसको फील कर पाए किससे क्या कौन गुजर रहा है. And finally, the responsiveness, whenever you get something sort of a query from parent or the student or any kind of, how quickly do we respond to this? That's something which we would like to say. Can we come to the last one, sir? We'll skip this except for those red ones. ये बहुत सारे हैं. Towards institution हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं. तो मेरे ये जो रेड वाले हैं ना, I just have stated it like this. एक बार की बात है कि जब ऐसे कुछ बात चल रहा था तो I said I too own this institution as much as my boss owns. Only thing, my stakes are less, but my attachment or my conviction towards it is no lesser than his. So accountability, collaboration, something which we are not habitual of. Collaboration is something बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं होता. There are plenty of occasions we can't go along with the people. Growth mindset, because yes, that's something we all need to have in order to see that it runs, goes. और आगे का देख लीजिए. ये that is too fast. I know Mr. Yogesh from precisely from 1st April 2011. That's how we were together in one class. Right. So innovation, problem solving, मैं बता रहा हूँ, communication, problem solving, ये दो चीजों पे तो बिल्कुल किसी प्रॉब्लम को जरा हाथ में लेके उसको रिजॉल्व करने की कोशिश कीजिएगा, बहुत बढ़िया आएगा. Self awareness is something which is very rarely seen. Quickly tell me the time before I wind up. 4:45. I crossed all my limits. I'm so sorry. Is it 4:45, sir? I need to check. 4:30 ना? नहीं, 4:45 तो मुझे लगा कि मैं सीढ़ी से नीचे उतरना नहीं है, मुझे लगा कि खिड़की के रास्ते मुझे बाहर जाना है. 4:14. 4:40. ठीक है, अब थोड़ी सी गुस्ताखी और कर लेता हूँ. So coming to this problem solving, self awareness, एक बार मैं छोटी सी बात कर लेता हूँ, बिकॉज अधूरी बातें छोड़ूंगा नहीं. कारण मैं बीच बीच में श्रद्धा पार्क कैंपस पे जाता हूँ, वो दोनों वहीं रहते हैं. दिस इज वन ऑफ द लीस्ट एक्सप्लोर्ड एरिया. मैं इसकी एनालॉजी ऐसी देखता हूँ. सी व्हेनेवर वी गेट अ फोन कॉल, है ना, बी व्हेनेवर वी आर सिटिंग इन अ मीटिंग, व्हेनेवर सिटिंग इन अ ट्रेनिंग, वी आर कंडक्टिंग ए क्लास, दो वी डोंट टच आवर मोबाइल फोन्स देन. लेकिन ऐसे कई मौकों पे गाड़ी चलाते वक्त भी, today our driver did some stunts while coming, he received calls, right? So on a number of occasions we try to take the help of, we receive the calls, है ना. अब मैं एक ऐसा सवाल पूछने वाला हूं, शायद थोड़ा सा फिर से अपने केजी डेज की तरफ जाने वाला सवाल. मुझे लगा खुशी से ये ले जाओ आज. कोई अच्छी खबर आई तो ले जाओ आज, चलो एंजॉय करो. यस, कमिंग बैक टू मेरा ये कहना है कि जब भी कोई बाहर से हमें फोन करता है, फोन गुरगुराता भी है तो भी हमारा अचानक लगता है कि क्या है, कोई आहट सी है, कुछ आया है. So whenever somebody tries to call me, I always respond irrespective of the circumstances. I don't know how many of you have done it, but the question goes to all of you. हम में से कितने लोगों ने अपने ही फोन से उसी नंबर से अपने उसी नंबर पे कॉल करके देखा, जरा हाथ खड़ा कर दीजिए. देखा है ना? यस, काउंटेड सर. ऐसा क्यों करते हैं हम लोग? नहीं, जरूरी है, इंक्विजिटिवनेस है, करना चाहिए, देखना चाहिए क्या. लेकिन होता क्या है? R&D तो है, लेकिन हुआ क्या? What happens exactly? When you called yourself, what was the answer did you get? Busy. So whenever world wants to come to you, you are available. But when you try to reach to yourself, you are busy. And that's where the problem lies. Believe me, many of us are not able to respond to very basic things about ourselves because we don't know much about ourselves. My request would be, please try to explore yourself as much as possible. Believe me, there are a lot of new facets you can see within yourself. Plenty of things you have within you. You can explore them and you can pass it on to the generations coming. Right, friends? And the last one. People may not like us people may not love us, but one thing when we are working in an organization, we must ensure that people should trust us. Not only people, the management, not only the colleagues, students, the trust factor is very much vital. Please do take care of that thing. Now, so when we are starting our journey as a teacher leader, प्लीज देखिए आजकल बहुत जगह ऐसा हो गया कि पहले क्या होता था, एप्टीट्यूड होता था, ऐसे राइटिंग होता था और बस बहुत सारे प्रोसेसेस होती थी रिक्रूटमेंट के. अगर आप ग्लोबली देखेंगे, इवन बेस्ट ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूशंस इन इंडिया दे हैव अडॉप्टेड टू दिस. दे वांट यू टू राइट समथिंग दैट व्हाई डू यू वांट टू डू इट, what is your motive behind doing it, and if you have something very logical, convincing, which is coming from your heart, they try to take you in. अब वो जमाने चले गए कि आप एलिजिबल है. सर ने ईक्यू और आईक्यू क्या बोला था, तो उसमें भी यही बात आती कि पहले आईक्यू के भरोसे सारे एंट्रीज होती थी, लेकिन ये पाया गया कि ईक्यू ज्यादा फैक्टर है. आईक्यू आपको एलिजिबल करता है, लेकिन ईक्यू आपको सक्सेसफुल करता है वर्क प्लेस में. सो इफ वी हैव, मेरा आपसे सबसे निवेदन है कि आज एक बार नए सिरे से, आज अपनी क्लास होने के बाद नए सिरे से, प्लीज सर नेक्स्ट वन, please write a statement of purpose for which we have taken the education as our career. Please write a statement of purpose, try to follow it. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Do I need to come down? You didn't say anything.
Thank you so much, Tushar Mulay sir, to deliver such a wonderful lecture. Now I would like to call Dr. Yogita Thakre ma'am to deliver vote of thanks.
Thank you, Simran ma'am. Good afternoon, all. On behalf, on the behalf of School of Science, GHRU University Saikheda, it's my privilege standing here to express my vote of thanks. I would like to thank our chairman sir first for permitting and providing support to organize this 1 week FDP. I thanks Tushar Mulay sir for such enlightening lectures on leadership skills, social skill. Your lectures definitely sharpen our access, sir. As as you told us that a teacher profession reach to every profession, so that's why we have to always sharpen our access so that we can meet all the challenges for today's society. And thank you, our Dean Ma'am, Vidamishran Ma'am, all the all the participating who attended today's FDP session. Thank you all. बोलना है क्या? All come forward for a group photograph.
Now I conclude that first day of FDP to be resolved.